Bim! Guess what? We're live an hour later than normal because someone nearby has been having a massive firework party with one of them boxes that go bing bing boom. Sounds like I'm in the middle of a war zone, I tell you. Anyway, it's all gone quiet now. It's been quiet for about 5 minutes. I thought I'll give it a go and see if I can actually get the broadcast done before they decide to do more fireworks. Yes. If you've not been here before, this is a alternative stroke attempted lightheartedness look at the world news, but there are some heavy subjects that we do cover, and I give my opinion on the problems, etc, etc, etc. You're late, yeah, fireworks next door or next door but two, whatever, just couldn't hear myself think, so I thought, stuff it, I'll do it again, I'll do it later. And bearing in mind, we've moved the hours around, British summertime, wintertime and all that, so, you know, everyone's confused at the moment. Hi Reese, hope you're good as well. If you want to join in the chat, feel free. Keep it clean though, and that way your comments will actually come up. Don't forget as well that this is available as a podcast. If you're watching this, you're listening to this as a podcast, this is available on YouTube. Links in both descriptions to the other one that you're watching or listening to. Anyway, first news that we had this week was an absolute tragedy in South Korea. There was a Halloween festival that they were having at the weekend, and sadly, I don't think we know why yet, there was a crush, a panic-stricken crush, which caused the passing of 153 at least people, and most of them teenagers or in their early 20s, the people who go clubbing and go out enjoying themselves. It's meant to be a night of celebration, and sadly many families will remember this Halloween for a long while to come, and not for the right reasons. Absolutely awful scenes in Seoul. Oh yeah, I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about, does it? You go out for a night out and your mates don't come back or you don't come back. It's just absolutely awful. In Britain, Bulb went bust. They were an energy company, quite a big energy company. I always thought they were tiny, but apparently they're actually quite big. They went bust, over 1 million subscribers or 1 million customers, so that is quite big, I suppose. Anyway, they've now been, well, the customers have now been bought or transferred or whatever you want to call it, over to Octopus Energy. So hopefully they can still keep their prices down, but we're all struggling from this cost of living crisis that's going on. More of that later. What else has been going on this week? Oh yes, everyone's favourite dictator, Vladimir Putin. He, earlier on this week, blamed the United Kingdom and the West for the bombing of the oil lines, the gas lines, sorry, the Nord Stream gas lines. Now, a number of issues with this, apart from the fact is it's very, very, very unlikely. I'm not saying it's not totally unlikely, because again, you know, we only get fed what people want us to see. So, but I can't see any reason for anyone in the West, be it us or any other country in the West, blowing up something that actually, once it got working again, would keep the prices down. Just realised something as well. I'm not, because I got it such a muck. Yeah, let's keep that. Earlier on, I've not done this. Oh dear. So I've seen that wrong as well. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. But yeah, it's, I don't know, it's one of them things that we only get told, like I say, what they want us to hear. Like we know Russia only tell their people what they want to hear. And we'd be very naive to think that we don't get, I won't say as brainwashed, but certainly selected information sent to us, rather than the full truth, shall we say. But we will have to wait and see. But I honestly don't see why we would, the West, blow up something that is actually giving us energy for a reasonable price when there's an energy crisis admitted caused by Putin in the first place. But it just doesn't make sense. So, but I mean, Putin doesn't make sense anyway in many levels. Yeah, he's what else did he say? Oh yeah, and then he also decided a while ago he agreed to allow grain to be shipped out of Ukraine. Silence. What the heck was that? Just bear with me a moment. Just bear with me a moment. Just bear with me. Bear with me a moment. Just bear with me a moment. The cat's worked out how to open doors. That's a bit annoying. So she's been practicing with a rat friend. Anyway, hiya Faded, hope you're good. Yeah, we're discussing the news, and we're discussing everyone's favourite dictator, and that of course is Vladimir Putin, who has basically said that the West blew up the pipelines that blew up a couple of weeks ago, and he withdrew from the grain agreement that they could ship grain out of Ukraine. So a lot of African countries and places like that who get the grain were starting to struggle. But he doesn't seem to care. He's one of these people who just uses anything as an excuse. He thinks anything happens to him or his country and he's all like, ooh, it's terrorist attack, that, ooh, you can't do that, ooh. But he just does whatever he wants. It's weird. Another tragedy this week, this time in India. At least 134 people were killed when a bridge collapsed. It was quite a substantial bridge, and it was a bridge used, well, it had been there for a long while, although obviously this version is a more recent version of it, but the actual crossing at that point has been there for centuries. But for some reason it's collapsed, and like I say, 134 people fell to their deaths, at least. Again, horrendous what's going on around the world. I mean, some things are unavoidable, but I think something like that, there's got to be someone culpable for that, and hopefully they do find out who it was. If someone's cut corners when they were maybe refurbishing the bridge or not refurbishing the bridge to save money. Either way, yeah, just a horrible thing that needn't have happened. Then we got this rather bizarre petrol bomb attack at one of the immigration centres in Dover, and a guy threw 3 or 4 petrol bombs. Not all of them went off, and then drove off and sadly killed himself. But again, I don't understand the logic of petrol bombing something like that. It just seems, I don't know. Those people who are there, whether they should be there or not, don't deserve to have the terror of a petrol bomb being thrown at them. I mean, it's, yeah, just a horrible thing to do. Meanwhile, I put here Lula, but we've got a new president in Brazil who thankfully isn't Bolsonaro, or whatever he was called, who was, chop down the rainforest, it's all good, chop down as much rainforest as you want, COVID isn't a thing, and then gets it 3 times. So they got rid of him and they brought this guy back, Lula. Very close, I think it was 51 point something against 48 point something in the votes, so incredibly close. Can you imagine if that was anyone else, like, I don't know, Donald Trump, more of him later, then no doubt it would have been a massive thing. But anyway, apparently everyone's agreed that the result is correct at the moment. So we've got a new president who's an old president who got voted out for Bolsonaro to go in a few years ago and completely mess it up. Yeah, imagine that, having a leader who just comes in and completely messes everything up that you've done. God, it would never happen here. Yeah, maybe not. Yep, the other thing that's going on at the moment as well is that the right picture? Yeah, I think it is. The migrant crisis is getting worse and worse. Basically, we've now got, apparently, the majority of the people coming over via the channel are Albanians now, and the majority of them are single men, apparently. I mean, I don't know. I've not been there and counted them. I'm not Nigel Farage. I'm not going to stand on a hill and count them all coming in. But anyway, it obviously is a problem, and the government seems powerless as to figure out what to do. And I'm like, the easiest thing to do is pick them up and then take them back to France and then drop them off there, and then they come back, we do it again, and that way they know that they can't just come here and then expect, you know, lavish treatment. There's a lot of them complaining about the treatment they're getting at the moment. They're in these centres which are not designed for this number of people. A centre for 1,000 people's had around about 4,000 people in it, so yeah, cramped conditions and all that. But you know, we've not invited them here. It's not like come here and have a party, come in here and all this kind of stuff. They've chosen to come here, and let's be honest, it's not been a good place to come for a while. So why word hasn't got out that maybe Britain isn't the best place to come to, I don't know. But we've got to stop them risking their lives coming over the channel. And the only way to do that is to say, if you come over the channel, we're just going to drop you back in France again. I mean, France aren't doing anything to stop people coming over on the channel, so they ain't going to stop us putting them back on the beaches on France. And hopefully that'll stop it. In the meantime, we set up something in France or in Albania or wherever these people are coming from to actually assess them when they're in a better area, i.e. in Albania they're at home, or at least they're in their own country, and we can assess them, and if they've got a legitimate reason to come to Britain, then fair enough. If they haven't, then I'm sorry, you can't have a visa, but you know, at least you've not travelled and risked your life coming over the channel. The problem you've got is it's not just the channel, there's other sea crossings that are the issue. You've got to be harsh with these people. I know they're desperate, I get all that. I know all the woke people will be like, oh, you can't say that. But you think of it, they're risking their lives to cross these various waterways. If wherever they arrive, they just get picked up and sent back to where they started from, eventually it's going to twig. And then, but in the meantime, like I say, we have to set up something so we can assess people, you know, in situ. And then if they have got a legitimate reason to come to the United Kingdom, then, you know, we give them a ticket for a plane and off they come. Don't worry, Angela being late. I mean, actually, what am I saying? I can't believe you've been late. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe Angela is late. I'm mortified. I'm upset. I'm lost for words. I really am. I mean, I've been on now for 14 minutes and you've only just turned up. Unbelievable. Yeah, I was late as well. Long story short, I was late. But I'm here now. So, yeah, it's the migrant crisis. We need to do something. We need to do something different. And we need to make it so that they are not risking their lives in order to try and get to the United Kingdom. We've got to make it so that they can apply in somewhere else, and then we can give them an air ticket to fly over here. And I also think as well, because we control our own borders now since we left the EU, I can't see why we have a problem allowing in people to do the jobs that the British people won't do. For example, carers, doctors, dentists, nurses, crop pickers, and all that. Where is your note? I brought an apple. I'm allergic to apples, so I ate the note. But yeah, we've got to change the way we act towards these people. They are humans, so why do we let them risk their lives to come over here and then shove them in places that are not suitable for weeks, months? A lot of them have been shipped out to hotels now, and before the last lot got shipped out, it was costing the United Kingdom £7 million a day, apparently, or was it a week? I think it was a day, to have these people in hotels, because there's that many of them around the country. Damn, I can't come back on that one. No, you can't. I always win. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see if the government come up with something, but Rishi, if you watch this, just think, and I'll ask for what she called. I nearly said Prunella Scales then. She'd probably do a better job. Sorry, Prunella Scales. Oh, she was a wife on Fawlty Towers. Basil? Him. Not him, her. Yeah, I know what I mean. It's not all serious doom and gloom. We've also got the joys of I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. And this year it is an interesting selection of people they've got. They've got the breakfast DJ that I listen to, which is Chris Moyles on Radio X. You can get Radio X digitally or whatever. If you ate the note, then you won't need... Yeah, that's good. It's self-cleaning on the way back. Self-cleaning on the way out, yes. Yeah, we've got an interesting crew going in. We've got, Chris Moyles. We've got Boy George. I can't imagine that lasting very long. And then I thought he was on this picture, but he's not on this picture. We've got Matt Hancock as well. Now, Matt Hancock was the really rubbish health secretary that we had during COVID, who ended up being fired because he was groping some woman in a corridor. Now, moving on. The arguments I had at the time, because I was doing what a week that was the fact that how did that image get out of a secure government building? I mean, the fact he was doing it was irrelevant. He shouldn't have been doing it anyway, but how did that image get out? And also, why is he allowed to go into the jungle when he's a serving MP who can't do his job properly? And then it turns out you can't even put him in any of the challenges because all he'll get is vegetarian options because of his diet. Or, no, that's Boy George, sorry, he's got vegetarian options because of his diet. No, Matt Hancock, you can't vote him in because of a unknown health issue. So it's going to be an interesting I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. The problem is, I don't watch it, but I kind of pick up what's going on due to the fact that it's kind of all over the news and everywhere else. Particularly, like I say, with having Matt Hancock in there. I remember that Matt Hancock was the one who got blanked by Rishi Sunak when he arrived, when he'd just been elected as, well, unopposed election as the leader of the Labour Party. That night he went to, not the Labour Party, Conservative Party, he went to Conservative Party headquarters, and they're all there, and Matt Hancock's at the bottom clapping away like a seal. And Rishi gets out of his car, walks up, starts shaking hands and all that kind of stuff, completely walks past Matt Hancock, and Matt's like ready to give him a hug or whatever. And it was hilarious, but we didn't know why. And I'm thinking that Rishi already knew that he was doing this, and he was a bit of a plonker when he was in the cabinet. So talking of vegetarian options, these maybe or maybe not, I'm not an expert, magic mushrooms. And it turns out that they've now discovered that in magic mushrooms there is something, a chemical which helps people with depression to not be as depressed, and you take it and it can work for between 3 to 4 weeks. Your depression kind of dissipates. So you're having an hallucinogenic drug. Anything would disappear, I would have thought. But again, old wives' tales. You know, the old stuff that grandma used to come out with, or your great grandma, or your great great grandma used to come out with. Oh yeah, put a bit of this on it, a bit of that on it, a bit of linseed oil and a bit of that, and rub it on, and oh, it'll be fine and all that. There's a lot to be said for that kind of stuff, and I think everything that we have, there's a natural remedy for it, and maybe depression, the natural remedy is magic mushrooms. But I was listening to someone on a news channel. I don't think it was one of the big news channels. It might have been GB News. I don't watch it a lot, but occasionally I'll flick it on. And this guy said that, or a doctor said, that if you get given this extract from the magic mushrooms, you have to be monitored for 8 hours because of the way it affects your mind. And I'm like, well, that sounds safe then, doesn't it? Oh. Yeah, and that was the other thing as well, the withdrawal symptoms. You're right, Angela. This is brilliant, Billy Shears. Those magic mushrooms cured my depression and made me a really fun guy to be around. You get joke of the year so far. And bear in mind, we're in November now. You're doing very well. I hope you've made that up yourself. But even if you've just pinched it from someone, you know, I won't refer to you as Jeremy Corden, James Corden. I won't refer to you as James Corden. It's fine, because I've not heard that before. Magic mushrooms are the reason cavemen's brains became so big so fast. The cavemen went out on the savannah, foraged magic mushrooms, and that made the brains become bigger and bigger. Well, there are other animals that actually use hallucinogenic stuff. That's the theory anyway. There's lots of theories. The problem is, and I've said this, if you go right back to my very first ever videos, very first ones, when I first got the channel, I didn't know what I was going to do for the channel. I think these things have to evolve naturally, and I did these videos. What can I do for the channel and everything, and then I did some history videos as well, and I did history, but as it was history, but now, but for the people in the future. So not for the people now, because it's just normal stuff, but for people in the future. And my argument always has been that we don't know what dinosaurs look like, we don't know what the Big Bang was like, we don't know how the dinosaurs all died, we just guess on all of it. Same with cavemen, same with Stone Age, same with a lot of the wars that we talk about, medieval wars and all that kind of stuff. There's a few bits and pieces written down, but we don't know for definite what happens. It's only someone's opinion of what happens. So yeah, there's a lot going on that we know now that we're guessing that happened in the past. And if we're not there, oh God, I need to go and have a lie down. If we're not there in the past, then we're only guessing what happened in the past. Like for example, you know, I wouldn't know how my mother was born, for example, because there's no one around who would remember that. My mother's still around, but she's being born. You don't remember being born unless you're one of these bizarre people who reckon they do. So it's all conjunctive. It's like, you know, was she born in a house? Was she born in a hospital? To be fair, it was a house. I know what house it was, but I don't know the details of it. It's in the past. I don't know the names of my great-great-grandparents. It's all in the past. You can look it up, but I don't know what the personalities were. I never will. So if you go even further back, you never do. Anyway, God, we went off on a tangent then. It's those bloody magic mushrooms. I need a bit of vodka or Evian. Honestly, it is Evian. Because that was a bit, whew, that was a bit long-winded, wasn't it? Right, let's get on to some sensible people. The President of Albania. The President of Albania is blaming Britain for is shouting at Britain for blaming him for the Albanians being the biggest population currently trying to get over the channel to get into Britain. And Britain are saying we didn't say that, but why is it your people who are doing that? And he wouldn't answer the question. So yeah, a reasonable guy. You could say, yeah, he was a fun guy. Oh no, someone's already done that joke. Rishi Sunak, you can tell things have got back to normal because this is the first time I've mentioned British politics, I think. Yeah, it is. Well, apart from Matt Hancock, but let's be honest, he doesn't count. So, Rishi was saying that he's not going to COP27 because we've got a lot of urgent stuff we need to sort out now. Basically, pick up the pieces from Liz Truss and just make, this cluster F go away. Anyway, he's now changed his mind and he's now going. And I'm like, no, last week I agreed with you not going because we need to sort this out. And even if we flick the switch, like these blinking oil protesters want us to do, and stop using oil instantly overnight, and we could still have power and still have everything else in Britain, it wouldn't make a difference to the population of the world at all. So it's more important we sort ourselves out financially, try and get to grips with interest rates, which are coming to in a bit, and other things, inflation and all that, get to grips with that, and then go to COP28. When everything's sorted, go to COP28 and say, right, I'm back, we need to sort this out, we need to do this. India, why are you not doing that? China, why are you not doing that? Russia, why are you not doing that? America, why are you not doing that? They're the biggest polluters, they're the ones that need to stop. And until they do, if the planet is doomed, it's doomed. Yeah, so anyway, he's going now, but not for long, apparently. He's only kind of going in, basically showing his face, meeting a few people, which he's never met as Prime Minister, because again, it's only been a couple of weeks, and then he's coming back again. So, yeah. Someone else trying to do a comeback at the moment. There's a lot of this, isn't there? People who come back. It's the President of Brazil, Donald Trump, who we'll mention later on, Boris Johnson, who nearly thought, and Imran Khan. Now, he was doing a massive 2-week long protest rally going across Pakistan to try and get people to make the government have an election, because he reckons that the government that's currently in there, the ones who kicked him out of power, shouldn't be in there, and therefore we should go to the public, get a public vote, and if the public say we want the people who are currently in, or we want Imran Khan back, or whatever, that's fine because the public have chosen. Anyway, he's doing this and he gets shot at by an individual with an automatic weapon. Only gets hit in the leg, not life-threatening or anything like that. But again, it just shows you the risk of being a politician. I mean, I used to be able to say it shows you the risk of being a politician in a country other than Britain. But we've had a few tragedies ourselves in Britain with people being politicians. But thankfully, he's okay. He's just been shot in the leg. I think I'd be a bit angry. Or in pain. I think it's more in pain than anything. But yeah, hopefully he'll make a full recovery. And you never know, he might be the Pakistani Prime Minister again. Older people like me will remember him as being the very good Pakistan cricketer. The Wrath of Khan, yes. Oh, I see what you did there. He looks angry at that photograph, the Wrath of Khan. Very good. Very good. The Wrath of the Bank of England has hiked the interest rate to 3%, which means a lot of people now will not be able to afford to repay their mortgage and or fuel the house to keep it warm and lit and or feed the family. So basically, we're getting hit left, right and centre. What they try and do by putting the interest rate up is, the interest rate is basically your mortgage. So if you've got a mortgage, or if you live in a rented a property which is mortgaged by your landlord, it's the same effect. Your rent would go up, but your mortgage goes up as well. If you look at the graph there, since 2009 thereabouts, it's been very, very low interest indeed. It's been less than 1% interest, and then it dropped quite considerably, and went up again in 2019, and then in 2021 practically went to zero. I think it was 0.25%, which means your mortgage, the interest you pay on your mortgage, was negligible. You're practically getting the house for 0% interest, but now it's gone up to 3%. A lot of people have bought houses since 2015, 2017 with low mortgage rates, and now all of a sudden, instead of paying an amount, they're going to have to pay considerably more. If you've got 120 grand a year mortgage, there's a possibility now in a year you'll be paying 3 grand more than what you were paying last year for your mortgage. £3,000 in a year, that is 250 quid a month extra on your mortgage. It's a lot of money, and a lot of people won't be able to afford it. So yeah, it's interesting times ahead. We are going to go into recession, if we're not already in one, but we're just going to have to wait and see, because I don't know it's going to go higher again, but I think it's not going to work. The whole point of it is they put the interest rates up, so your mortgage goes up, your rent goes up, which means you have to pay your mortgage or your rent instead of going out and spending money in shops, which means the shops have more stuff than what they would have had, so they don't put the prices up. In fact, if anything, they put the prices down to sell the stuff they've got so they can make some money from it. That's the basic logic of interest rate increases. The only problem is, in all the time I've known interest rates and all that, I don't think it's made a huge amount of difference. I mean, we've shops have been shutting down for the last 3 or 4 years, and the interest rate's been bugger all. So it just doesn't make sense at all. Councillors are in danger as well. Oh yeah, obviously anyone in politics anyone in public life is in danger, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully, like I say, Imran Khan will make a full recovery. Another tragic story, and ironically, I wasn't aware that this story was breaking this week, but a report has come out following the bombing at Manchester Arena a few years ago, and it's basically said that the fire, the police and the ambulance service were useless on the night. They didn't talk to each other, they didn't organise themselves, they didn't go in, even when they knew that there was only one assailant and they were dead, and people died. Now, the majority of people who died, they say, would have died no matter what, and most of them were killed instantly. But there were 2 people who could have survived. The one who was more likely to survive was the gentleman with the heavily damaged legs. He was looked after by the members of the public who were in the arena at the time, including tourniquets and things like that. Was talking to people, saying, I'm going to die, and they're like, no you're not, you'll be fine, but no one came to him, none of the paramedics got to him in time. And then little Safi, the 8-year-old girl, now they're saying that there's more of a possibility that she would have died no matter what, but there's a very slim chance that she could have survived if she'd have had the paramedics and the help, professional help, instantly. Again, the people there tried their best, but sadly it wasn't to be. And you've got to think, that could be any of us, any of our families, friends, whatever, who end up in a situation through no fault of their own and then just get abandoned by the people who are supposed to save them. I think it's a crime. I think a crime has been committed by the emergency services in this case. They should have gone in at some point before 2 hours. They even did a practice terrorist attack about 3 or 4 weeks earlier, maybe a month, in the Trafford Centre, where they had the ambulance, the police and the fire, and they were all play acting a terrorist attack on the Mall. And at the time it seemed a good idea, but then it turns out that was a disaster as well. They weren't talking to each other, they weren't doing this. But then a few weeks later, It was exactly the same. Now, surely they would have realised we did a practice, it didn't work because we didn't talk to each other. Why do the same thing again? It's just shocking. And then we hear that there are police officers who've been employed who've got criminal records or whatever, and shouldn't be police officers. You know, they're in groups that are banned, or they have associates who are gangsters or whatever. And these are the police. What is wrong with this whole system at the moment where it's not functioning properly? I don't think it's abandoned health and safety in this country is crazy. If it went in and a bomb went off, they'd be fired and not be able to claim any money for injuries. Yeah, but it was fairly quickly established. I mean, it was over 2 hours. It was over 2 hours. The people who could get out got out. The only people left were the people who were injured and the people helping the people injured. Why did they not go in? Okay, maybe half an hour, 3/4 of an hour, just to make sure. Armed police could go in. They didn't go in. No one went in. I mean, we've been slagging off the Texas police for the Uvalde shooting in the school, for not going in and actually listening to children getting shot down the corridor because they were too scared to go in. And then we look at our own police on that night, and the fire and the ambulance, and they were not fit for purpose. Now, I don't blame the individual paramedics, I don't blame the individual police or the fire officers. It's the people running these who are the problem. The people who've got no sense of reality, no sense of urgency. You know, if there's a disaster, if you're in a car crash, for example, you expect the ambulance and the fire engine and the police to turn up if you're seriously injured, extract you from the vehicle, take you to hospital, try and get you sorted. This was much more serious, on a much bigger scale, and they didn't go in for 2 hours. It's not right. It's just not right. It's an 1,000-page report, and what gets me is, will they actually listen? Will they actually do anything different if it happens again? Heaven forbid. And more importantly, if it's other areas, because this is just Greater Manchester, if it's other areas around the country, are they looking at this as well and thinking, well, what would happen if it happened at our place? What would we do? There's got to be protocol for a disaster where all the leaders of the groups, police, fire and ambulance, paramedics, go to one place, one room, maybe have a room set up somewhere for such an emergency, so everyone is in the same room, and that way there's no lack of communication. They all know where to go. It's, you know, maybe a building on an industrial estate near the city centre, in Manchester's case, or, you know, somewhere like that, secure. No one knows where it is apart from these people. Right, we've got an emergency, get yourselves there and we're going to sort this out. It's not difficult, but yeah, I mean, one person most definitely lost their life because of the ineptitude of the leaders of the emergency services. One very slim chance could have survived, but yeah. No, it's not down to funds. There was hundreds of firemen there. The firefighters went from Wigan, which is 15 miles away. They were all there. The police were there. The ambulances were there. Everything was there. The problem was the leaders, or the people organising it, weren't talking to each other. So the ambulance didn't get in touch with the police and saying, is it safe for our people to go in now? The police weren't communicating with anyone. The fire people were, I think it was two hours and 40 minutes before the fire people were allowed to go in. It's just terrible. It's just terrible. And, you know, each area, I think, should have an hub where all these people, all these, you know, chief constables and head of the fire department, head of the hospitals or whatever of that area, all go to and can communicate and talk to each other face to face and sort it out quicker. The reason I'm saying every area should have one is because, heaven forbid again, that we should ever, hopefully we'd never need these, but what if there's multiple attacks? What if there's attacks in Birmingham, London, Glasgow, Sheffield, whatever, at the same time? You don't want to be spreading out the responsibility, so you want the local people with the local knowledge to deal with the local issue, and then maybe they can communicate afterwards and see how it all went. But you've got to have a local room or building or office or something where they all know to go to. They've all got the communications they need to deal with their people, but they can all talk to each other and get it sorted, because this must never happen again. I mean, hope to God there is never another terrorist attack in Britain, but you know, I think there will be, unfortunately. On another note, there's a lot of rumours and speculation now about cuts to try and fill the black hole caused in the funds by Liz Truss in 3 weeks of being in charge, completely messed it up. And cutbacks, here we go again, yes, they're going to cut this back, that back and everything else back. And they're on about, there's rumours that Sizewell C is going to be one of them. Now Sizewell C, if you've been watching this, is the new nuclear power station which got the go-ahead with Boris only a few months ago. It's going to take many years to build because it is a massive nuclear power station, and it's going to cost billions, but it's sustainable energy, so it would be insane of all the things to get rid of that. They're on about power cuts this winter. They're on about 7 days we might be without power in certain places. They're on about this new levy thing where you can try and save electricity by saving everyone else's electricity by doing your washing at midnight, or doing your drying at midnight, or doing cooking later on in the day rather than during the peak period, because obviously now it's dark. So when people come home from work, it's dark, so all the lights go on in the house. The kids switch on all the little, TVs that they've got in the rooms, computer systems, whatever. Mum and Dad have got their TV downstairs, the oven goes on, central heating's on, so there's a huge amount of drain on the power system. I remember the old joke was, if you were watching Coronation Street back in the day, if you weren't watching Coronation Street but you were in the National Grid headquarters, you knew when the commercial break had started, because the demand just shot up because everyone put the kettles on. Now back then everyone's kettles were like, with electricity. Not so much now, but and obviously not as many people watch Coronation Street now, so adverts are all over the place. But yeah, it was a big thing at the time that you could tell when Coronation Street was on, because the demand kind of went poof like that and then dropped down again after a few minutes because the kettles had boiled, and then it went up again when the programme finished because it wanted another brew, I suppose. But yeah, we've got to think long term, and long term is nuclear power. I've said all along, people agree with me, people don't agree with me, it's fine. That's what your opinion is there for. Wind power is only good when it's windy. Solar power, it's useless in Britain, let's be honest. I mean, it's been sunny today, then it was cloudy, and it goes dark at 4 o'clock. So what is the point of solar panels in Britain? If you're in Africa or Dubai or wherever, absolutely fine. Solar panel yourself out. I think the way forward, it's a Tesla thing, and I don't like him, but it's a good idea, are these mini nuclear pods that he's coming up with, which basically you can just dump one down, you can build them fairly quickly, and it would power a town easy, and it'd be on all the time, and it wouldn't be a bother, and you could send them all around the world, so you could have maybe one in Africa that could support 30 villages, with electricity, and maybe pumps to get water out of the ground and all that kind of thing. We've got to have something that is sustainable. Nuclear power is a lot better now than it was when I was a kid, because technology's got better, understanding of it's got better. We're on about nuclear fusion now. Oh, what happened then? Are you back? Yeah, what happened then? I don't know. It went off and come back on again. Um, no, not that guy. That's the wrong guy. Go away. Where's the other guy I want? Where is he? There he is. This guy is the Northern Ireland Secretary. I did write his name down, but I can't read it. And he said that there is no... nuclear pods are not dangerous. Nuclear pods are only dangerous if they are interacted with, i.e. someone does something to them. They are secure. You can't get into them unless you've got access to go into them. They are not able to be damaged from the exterior. They are as safe as it can be. Like I said, it's completely different now. Don't think of Chernobyl. I mean, let's be honest, Chernobyl was many years ago, but the technology was even older. It's the same with that one in Ukraine, where the Russians have been hiding for a while. They're really, really old. Oh, good, thank you. And but the ones that they're building now are on another level. Even Sellafield up the road from Wigan, that is ancient now compared to what they're coming up with, and the amount of energy they can get from a small amount of nuclear product is phenomenal now, because we're so much better at understanding it. So it is safer. I'm not saying we should all have nuclear powered cars. I think that would be a bit ridiculous. But these pods, I mean, when I say a pod, I'm not talking about something the size of a garden shed or anything like that. They are a substantial size, and most of that is to keep things out of it rather than anything else. So yeah, they are, and they're not sealed. You can get in them. People would be working there, and they would have the same security than you have in nuclear power stations and other nuclear facilities around the country. I mean, don't forget, we've got nuclear power stations. We've also got like the RAF, the army and all that. They've got nuclear weapons. You've also got companies that deal with nuclear stuff, and they all have it secure as well. So the risk, I think, is minimal as long as the build is right. But the need is not minimal. We need it. We need something like that. Not just here, around the world. Like I say, if we can give them to India, give them to China, the big polluters, then if they get them rather than us, then that would mean that the world pollution will go down in an instant. And these things are quicker to build as well than these massive power stations like Sizewell C. So yeah, fingers crossed they will be able to develop something. I don't think we're there yet. I think we're a few years off, but the technology is getting there, put it that way. Anyway, back to the Northern Ireland Assembly. There's been a big issue with them regarding not agreeing to get a speaker. I mentioned it in quite a lot a week or two ago. There was a deadline which has passed, and if the deadline passed, there had to be another general election. They only had a general election in Northern Ireland in May, and they said there's no point having a general election because very unlikely things are going to change. What we need to do is sit around the table and talk this through. So, again, I think they made the right choice, but we'll have to wait and see. And hopefully they will be able to make some progress, because basically Northern Ireland is running without a government at the moment. I mean, we could have only wished for that a few weeks ago, but countries do run better with governments, it has to be said. Bird flu has become rampant. Now, bird flu technically only affects birds. That's why it's called bird flu. When it first came out, there was a big panic about it, and they thought people could catch it as well. But obviously since then we've had COVID, which was a lot bigger issue. But bird flu is back, and people are now finding wild birds, geese, swans, ducks, just normal everyday birds, dead. And when they're tested, a lot of seabirds, actually, thinking about it, there's a lot of cormorants that have been just decimated by this outbreak of bird flu. And it does seem to be now that bird flu is here to stay. You can't control all the wild birds, so it's going to absolutely decimate the bird population. I imagine chicken prices is going to go up in the shops. We might struggle getting turkeys at Christmas this year, and for years to come. And I possibly think that we need to rethink how we look after our animals. I like the idea of free range hens and all that kind of stuff, and free range eggs, but I think for the time being they're probably safer for us and them being in a barn, because let's be honest, if they can't catch bird flu, they ain't going to spread it. And where COVID came from, and was it SARS? It was a cross from an animal to human via consumption that actually caused it, allegedly. I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but that's what we've been told. So there is a possibility that there could be, you think how many million birds are killed a day for food, and then if that has got bird flu, hasn't been detected, gets into the food chain, and that one bit doesn't get cooked properly and is eaten by someone, and it does whatever it does and develops into something, we should learn from COVID. We need to sort this out as well. So yeah, I think free range food, I think, is off the, well, certainly fowl food anyway, is off the menu for a while, just for safety's sake. Meanwhile, everyone's favourite rich idiot, Elon Musk. We have signs on animal zones. Yeah, I've seen a few signs saying animal zones, but the whole country's going under it now, so there won't be any animal zones with the whole country. If you've got any birds at all, they won't be allowed outside. They will have to stay inside their hutch or their aviary or whatever. They won't be able to go outside at all, because the risk is too high of them catching it and then spreading it, and that's the problem. Elon Musk finally bought Twitter, as we said last week, and he's made some changes. He's now saying that if you are a blue tick owner, then you have to pay $8 a month for that blue tick. And you're like, what? Why? Is he trying to get his money back straight away? And then he's on about sacking up to half the members of staff from Twitter worldwide as well. Now, Twitter is not the best run company in the world. Twitter is not a company that seems to value the safety of particularly younger users. We talked about this a few weeks ago with Instagram and the analytic program that sent a vulnerable teenage girl an email recommending on her interests suicide pages and self-harm pages and things like that. And the girl, not necessarily because of that email, but she did take her own life. And Twitter isn't far behind on that. It's just I'm lucky. I've not had much of trolling or anything like that on Twitter, but it is a major thing for a lot of people. And to sack half your staff when the number of staff they have isn't doing the job properly just seems ludicrous. It seems like Twitter is just going to go, we'll be saying in 6 months' time, oh, remember Twitter? Oh yeah, I used to use Twitter all the time. And we'll be using something else now. Probably Donald Trump's freedom of information social media. Oh God, no, maybe not. Anyway, God, Jesus, can you imagine that? He's also on about bringing Donald Trump back, and other people who've been kicked off, including Kanye West and other nutters, including our, what's she called? Mad woman, Katie Thingamabob, the mad one. She got kicked off as well. But how do people know the chickens are free range? Because on the label it says free range chicken, and on your egg boxes it says free range chicken. And if you drive around, like I do a lot, I do see chickens outside in massive fields, massive cages and things, running around. And obviously, if you're lucky enough to have a big garden and you've got chickens in the garden, you too will have to keep them indoors somehow, i.e. not being able to get outside. So either you have to get them a shed to live in, so they've got something a bit bigger so they can jump up and down in and, you know, get their exercise and all that. Or you need to put something over your bit where they walk around loosely, so that nothing can get in and nothing can get out, bacteria, virus wise. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff going on, I tell you. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of stuff, and thankfully not much of it is politics. But here we go. Meanwhile, in America, now this is where I look at American news. It's either the way America reports news, actual American news itself, and often have a giggle about it, but more often than not ask the question, why doesn't America wake up to its own problems rather than trying to solve the world problems? Solve your own problems. Gun crime for a start. Sadly this week quite a bit of that, but there's also some amusing stuff as well. Having said that, before we go down that route, that rabbit hole of American news, let's have some interesting news that was in Britain. The British press. Because, let's be honest, the British press can be as weird as the American press. So this one here is Star Bizarre News. And a giant Chinese rocket is making an uncontrolled re-entry to Earth and could land anywhere. 21-ton piece of Chinese rocket the size of a 10-storey building is set to fall. It's already fallen, don't worry, it's not going to land on us. It's already fallen, it's already fallen. More of that later. But it's not the first time China have sent something up into space and it's not made it, and then it's come crashing back down again. Don't get me wrong, Skylab, which was American, did the same thing, but that was sent up in the 80s. I think they're a bit better at it now. No excuse for it, China. You need to sort out your things, and then everyone, you'll all cheer for this one. In Scotland, Liz Truss is chosen as the year's effigy to be burnt at Edenbridge Bonfire event. Oh, it's Edenbridge, not Edinburgh. Sorry, it's not Scotland at all. It's southeast England. So they've got an effigy of Liz Truss with a box of stuff when she's getting kicked out and a lettuce on her shoulder, and it's going to get burnt, and she's going to be the guy on their bonfire, and I think rightly so as well. So yeah, well done you. Anyway, let's get back to the important news, which is America, and we start off with something a bit silly. I know, you're thinking, hey, what? Silly? America? What? How's about this? An abstract painting has been hanging the wrong way in museums for 75 years. A famous abstract painting by the Dutch artist Piet Mondrian has been hanging upside down in museums for more than 75 years. It was first displayed the wrong way at the Big Apple's MoMA, a Heart historian revealed this week. The lattice-style 1941 piece titled New York City 1 features multicoloured tape thickening at the bottom of the canvas. However, the thicker tape should have been at the top. So, yeah, brilliant. Your hometown? What, Etheridge? Not Wigan. Russia. We've got to love Russia, it says somewhere on the label. I don't, obviously. Russia could start conscripting women into its war in Ukraine as the rogue nation loses control over its ruthless invasion, a Kremlin military honcho hinted. So yeah, they're now on about, now they've sent all the kids there, all the men, and a lot of them have sadly died or been severely injured. Let's send the women in. And yeah. Now this is in Wales, this is in Llandudno, but it's made American news. A feral pandemic goats to be managed by Welsh task force. A Welsh town that's been held hostage by a herd of bullying billy goats since early in the COVID-19 lockdown has formed a task force to fight back against the out-of-control animals. Llandudno, Wales made headlines in 2020, I think I even mentioned it in one of my vlogs, when a pack of cashmere goats from the nearby coast wandered into town and set up shop in its vacant lockdown streets. The goats proceeded to procreate and have since been packing the local streets. Now, I've been to Llandudno a couple of times, and I must admit I'm not seeing any goats wandering around, but you never know. Oh, your own town is Scotland. Ah, okay then. Oh yeah, obviously, O'Kane. Duh. You're not related to Hue and Cry, are you? They were called O'Kane as well. Strength to strength with a hue and cry, what a hurricane. We go strength to strength. Anyway, this is a shocking story. Ms. Maxwell has been seen laughing jogging on a prison track. Now, bearing in mind, she was involved in the scandal which featured Prince Andrew, along with Jeffrey Epstein. It was a pretty... They're looking for the food bank, the goats. Yeah, it's possible. Anything's possible. Ghislaine Maxwell has been seen laughing on a prison track. Now, she's done well to survive, because I'm pretty sure that Jeffrey Epstein committed femicide when he was in prison, and the joke was when she went to prison that it was sad that she died 2 months later. But anyway, she's doing okay. This is a weird one. Gas car ban. So basically they want to ban petrol cars. They call it gas over there. It always confuses me. For New Yorkers. 7 of New York's Republican members of Congress ripped Governor Kathy Hochul, she's a bit of a knotter, isn't she, on for attempting to take the right to choose by banning the sale of new gas-powered cars by 2035. Basically, this is America, remember. They love their gas-guzzling cars. They don't care about the environment. All they care about is making noise and going fast in straight lines, because they can't do corners very well, the cars. But anyway, yeah, there's a big kerfuffle going on in New York City about when they should ban sale of new petrol cars, or gas cars as they call them there. But I think they're missing the point. They should make gas cars. Hydrogen, green hydrogen is the way forward, or that recyclable stuff that uses the carbon dioxide from the atmosphere to make it, so when you burn it, it just replaces the carbon dioxide that you've took out the atmosphere, therefore it makes it carbon neutral. They're the way forward, not electric cars. Again, just look at previous or listen to previous podcasts for my views on electric cars. It's not pretty. This is another massive yacht fire. We've had a few now this year. This yacht fire sent passengers plunging into waters in Miami. I can think of worse places to plunge in water than Miami. You know, for example, pretty much anywhere else in the world. A group enjoying a company retreat on the waters of Miami Beach were forced to abandon ship when their chartered yacht suddenly caught fire on Friday. Video shows the group were hanging out on the massive yacht about 30 feet away from the dock off the Miami Beach. It wasn't even at sea. 30 feet away. You can tell it was a works do. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, guys, we'll hire a yacht and it'll be great. We can all go on this yacht and we can all get drunk and it'll be fantastic. We'll go sailing and all that. Hello, is that the yacht company? Yeah, we'd like to hire a yacht and go sailing. How much? How much? How much would it be just to go 30 feet off the coast? Yeah, we'll do that then. Yeah, we'll do that, thanks. Just make sure it don't catch fire. Yeah, so a cheapskate office do, and they ended up having to jump into the water 30 foot away from the dock. Oh, this is right. If you've just eaten, maybe turn the sound down for a few minutes and don't look at what is written, because this is disgusting. Photos of Harvey Weinstein's deformed genitalia are shown to the jury in the LA crimes trial. The jury, can you imagine being on the jury? You have to look at someone's deformed junk. They were shown photos of the disgraced Hollywood movies mongol's genitalia. On Friday, the images were included in an envelope of other photos and reports presented to the 12-member jury in a private room in Los Angeles. I mean, I'm just glad that it's not leaked. Or maybe that's what the deformity is, I don't know. Either way, yeah, jury service. Who wants to go into that? Reddit users claim they warned parent against fungal infection baby name. I wouldn't risk it. An anonymous Reddit user, single user, claims to have done a good deed by warning someone else against using a baby's name that is commonly associated with a fungal infection. The user, who has since deleted his or her account, shared on-screenshotted text message on October the 20th to a subreddit dedicated to poking fun at awful names. I mean, it doesn't say what it was. Lisa, no. Adele, well, I find that offensive, but only because of the singer. Bob, James, John, Mark, Peter, Claire, Jane, Dennis. Dennis? Okay, didn't expect to see that stuck on there. I can't read the other two around the corner. But none of them sound rude. Although it was funny because I was on a bus today and there was a teenage lad on and he was talking to someone and he said, well, you can get tested, and then he says, well, I'll have to get tested as well. So I thought, oh, it's obviously a girlfriend there. And then I thought, well, could be anything. It could be COVID, could be, whatever. And then he says, have they tested you for everything, or have they just tested you for the G? And I thought, okay, I know what that's about. Sorry, just too much information. Oh look, this is a happy story, if you like rodents. A California zoo welcomes adorable sister caprias, the world's largest rodents. Caprias. I used to be able to say that. So happy to see you. The two sisters, capybaras, have been welcomed by the California Zoo that released photos of them munching on bamboo stalks, and a video shows them paddling around their pool. The adorable critters, which resemble large hairy pigs with blunt snouts, no, they resemble large guinea pigs, are adjusting well to their new surroundings since having arrived earlier this month. I thought they'd been born. They've not been born, they've just moved. That's news. Oh, they were born they were born fairly recently. So yeah, they're quite new. I was thinking they were very quickly onto solids, but I mean, capybaras, yeah, might well be. A TikTok influencer faces criminal charges after hitting golf ball into Grand Canyon. I was like, what? A TikTok influencer who filmed herself drilling a golf ball into the Grand Canyon is now facing criminal charges on the stunt, authorities said. The golfer, who has nearly 7 million followers on the social media platform, drew swift backlash over antics and was reported to the Grand Canyon Park Service. The agency said she also allegedly threw a golf club into the canyon. Yeah, I mean, that is pollution. That is just being disrespectful. And you don't know who's down there. There could be someone down there. I mean, the Grand Canyon is very big. It's very high up. And it's an influencer. It's a shame she didn't chuck herself down. Oh, no, I'm not allowed to say that. It's a shame. She did it. She shouldn't have done it. Putin not expected to survive Ukraine conflict, says a Ukraine intelligence chief. Russian President Vladimir Putin will likely not survive in office if he loses the war in Ukraine. To be fair, I think anyone could have possibly said that, but there's also rumours as well in Russia that there are a lot of people close to him now thinking that enough is enough and they need to stop this madness. Whether they do or not is another thing, but yeah. Now remember, a couple of weeks ago, the NASA DART, which got fired off and hit this asteroid that was going around another asteroid to see if it could change its thing, and we're all laughing and going, yeah, but what's the chances of it ever happening in real life? A monstrous asteroid to speed by Earth next week. A large, potentially hazardous asteroid is expected to swing fewer than 6 lunar distances from Earth. I don't know how much a lunar distance is, and it was a bit panicking. I was like, oh my god, we need Bruce Willis, quick. Get him on a rocket, get him up there. I've never seen the film, but apparently that's what he does. The asteroid known as 2022 RM4, sexy name, is expected to pass by Earth on November the 1st. So 3 days ago. About 1.5 million miles away at its closest point. 1.5 million miles away. So no need to panic then. And it was days ago. So if it had done something, we'd all be dead now anyway. Oh, you thought the kookaburras were pretty. Oh, wait till you see this. Oh. If you like monkeys and you like trolls, I give you a leaf monkey. How cute is that? This pumpkin-haired fur baby was born right in time for Halloween. The St. Louis Zoo announced the birth of its first ever Francois langur, an endangered species, also known as the leaf monkey, which is easier to say. It is now 1 month old, so it wasn't just before Halloween. You've just decided to show it at Halloween because it looks a little bit like a pumpkin, but I don't care because it's cute. Oh, look at it. Oh, it's lovely. They've named it Rhubarb. I mean, duh, pumpkin. Rhubarb. So yeah, it's really cute, and I want one. Just for the headline, obviously it's irrelevant now, but the headline: your Halloween weather forecast from coast to ghost. I thank you. Elon Musk. Here we go. Outrage over Elon Musk's new Twitter verification strategy is hilarious. Can you hear the loud whine emanating from the coast? The chorus of dweebs comprise the elite newspaper reporters, columnists and so-called influencers who have just heard the news that Elon Musk, the uber-rich new owner and CEO of Twitter, might begin charging $19.99 a month to retain verification on his dumb social media platform. Wow. I don't think you can adopt monkeys from America, Angela, but yeah, you can just look at the picture. That'd be alright, and then you don't have to feed it, you don't have to wipe up after itself, and it never gets older and uglier. There you go. Should do that when you have kids. Just take a picture of it as a baby, and then, you know. I'm joking. Many UFO sightings, foreign drones or flying trash. No poo Sherlock. You're telling me that UFO sightings aren't actually from space, outer space? No. The latest revelations are contained in a classified update to a report last year that investigated 144 UFO sightings by US government personnel between 2004 and 2021. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about in the skies, so that would explain half of it. And then you've got countries like China who are just, well, idiots, sending stuff up and then it coming back down again before it's even got up. So yeah. Hagrid Runner Shack reminds me of those monkeys in Tom Wallis' Pet Shop, but they weren't as cute. Here we go. This guy's not getting any Chinese scientists, is he? Texas business under fire for now hiring non-stupid people sign. I think it's genius, I'll be honest. I mean, he's Texan, so he's obviously an idiot. But yeah, this may be the most blunt help wanted ad of all time. A business owner has offended some Pasadena, Texas residents after hanging up a large banner on his property that reads, "Now hiring non-stupid people." To be fair, I'd be offended if he'd have sacked me within a couple of weeks of that going up, because that would intimate that he thought I was stupid. I mean, yeah. He's the owner of Pets Gone Wild Resort, and he's got frustrated, growingly frustrated at some of his workers who he had previously employed. So he's like, Yeah, yeah. Don't put the ducks in with the tigers. That kind of thing. Oh, Kanye West. Yay. He's back. We did a lot on him last week. A bit quieter this week. But, yeah, he's back and as big and as beautiful as ever. Dumb, sorry. An anti-Semitic message referencing Kanye West's recent comments about Jews was projected during a college football game in Florida on Saturday, shocking attendees and outraging local and national officials. Videos posted on social media show Kenya's right about the Jews flashing across the front of the TIAA Bank field at the annual clash between Florida and Georgia in Jacksonville. So, yeah, they used a horrible font, though, to get the point across. But, yeah, Kenya is right, yeah. Kenya is not right. Kenya did some good music, which I still like, but I've never liked him as a human being, and that ain't changing anytime soon. Now, this is another weird one. Now, remember, this all basically started off from when the Americans were told not to feed batteries to the babies. That's not even a joke. That was a thing. Now they're being told, stop picking your nose. Now, you have to pick your nose because the stuff you can't get out there any other way. But what I don't do is pack the stuff up my nose so I can't breathe. And now it's saying it's not a laughing matter how picking your nose could, yeah right, result in Alzheimer's. Here's one more reason not to be a gold digger. A new study has found that picking your nose is not just gross but dangerous, as the habit could lead to Alzheimer's disease and dementia. You know what it is? They've asked people, or families of people, who've got Alzheimer's and dementia, have they ever picked their nose? And they've gone, yes. Well, that is a cause of it then. That's one of the causes for it. Because everyone picks their nose. It's ridiculous. But carry on reading. Prodding your nostril with your finger could help force chlamydia pneumonia bacteria into your brain. Now, when I do COVID tests, I shove the thing up my nose, spin it round a bit, but it goes quite a long way in. I don't think it's ever touched my brain. I admit many people say my brain's the only size of a walnut. This explains Ian Duncan Smith. What? But yeah, picking your nose could cause you to have a tasty treat. It's probably as much information or as honesty as what you're going to get from that. I mean, absolute twaddle. Now, it was Halloween, but this is grosser than Halloween, so you have been warned. A dog was caught running with a decapitated head in its mouth through a Mexican town. Now, it was an actual decapitated human head. It was not a human head wax model, plastic model thing from someone's. It was a real human's head. A dog was caught on video running down the street with a human head hanging out of its mouth. The alarming video clips shared on two social media showed the stray dog running down a dark street at night. That doesn't look that dark. Holding the corpse's head by the neck, likely taking it somewhere to eat the remains. The stray dog was spotted on the video carrying the human head throughout the streets. Did find out that they did find the rest of the body as well, but for some reason the dog took the head, which is probably the least edible bit of the body. But yeah, I mean, sadly in Mexico and those kind of areas there's a lot of cartels going on, a lot of assassinations and things like that, but yeah, perfect timing for Halloween. Obviously, if that's what the newspaper thought, so we'll publish that. Meanwhile, ew indeed. South Korea issues air raid alert after North Korea fires missiles again. South Korea says it has issued an air raid alert for residents on an island off its eastern coast after North Korea fired 3 missiles towards the sea. It's since escalated, and North Korea have fired missiles near the coast of South Korea, and South Korea have fired missiles near the coast of North Korea. What could possibly go wrong? China, Russia, Korea. World War III, yes. It's either going to be an asteroid or World War III that gets us. Meanwhile, the President of the United States of America. Biden suggested he spoke to the Doctor Who, not Doctor Who, not David Tennant, not Doctor Who, the Doctor Who invented insulin. Problem was, the doctor died before Biden was born. President Biden claimed on Tuesday that he spoke to a man who invented insulin. Invented as well, that's an interesting choice of words. Even though the doctor died before Biden was born. Yeah, and he's the leader of the bring back no, let's just keep Biden. Keep Biden. As long as we know, we just laugh at him, it's fine. We know he's not dangerous, we can just laugh at him. Oh no, laugh with him, yeah. Iowa teenagers kill their Spanish teacher over bad grades. 2 Iowa high schoolers allegedly killed their Spanish teacher last year as payback for a bad grade she gave one of the teens in her class. So it wasn't in both of them, it's just one of them. The new details shed light on a possible motive for the first time since Willan Miller and Jeremy Goodale were arrested and charged with the murder of their 66-year-old teacher in a small town of Fairfield on November the 2nd. So, again, to be fair, one of them does look like, what's he called, Damon. I'll let you choose. But, yeah, why do Americans think it's alright to kill people for silly reasons? It's not alright to kill people for any reason. At all. Unless it's Putin. Make exception there. But other than that, no. Giant baubles tumbled through street in London in a shocking scene. There's something mentally wrong with him. Yeah, bring back Obama. Yeah, Obama. Yeah, we'll bring back Obama. Obama. The holiday decorations really got the ball rolling in an early display. A larger-than-life Christmas setup was transformed into a dangerous game of dodgeball when heavy winds dislodged giant baubles, sending them tumbling down a London street. A video posted on TikTok and obtained by the Telegraph showed the massive silver balls rolling and bouncing down Tottenham Court Road early on Monday morning. Now, again, if you're of a certain age, i.e. my age, although to be fair, this was before my time, but my stepfather got me into it. There was a programme on TV called The Prisoner, and it was filmed in Wales, in a place that in the TV show they called The Village. And the guy didn't know why he was there, didn't know where he was or anything, didn't know his name. They just called him number 6, and he said, I'm not a number, I'm a human being, and all that kind of stuff. Tried multiple times to escape, and never ended up escaping. You could not escape from this place. But there was a beach. There is a beach. It's Portmeirion in North Wales. It's really a lovely place. I was going to go there this year, but money ran out, so I can't do. But I'll go next year at some point, and do a walk round video, but pretend I'm in Italy because it looks like Italy. It's really nice. Patrick McGowan was the star in it. Oh, his head. All right, okay. So yeah, I got very into this TV program, and then I found out much later in life that it was only filmed, 70 miles away from where I lived at the time. So I drove there one day, and it was great, and I walked on the beach. But when he was trying to escape in the TV program, there was this massive rubber ball that chased him, and then it kind of smothered him, and then he passed out, and then he'd wake up in his bed in his room in the village. And it never got resolved as to why he was there or anything. He'd done a TV show earlier called Danger Man, where he played a secret agent, and a lot of people this was in the 60s, so like I said, before I was even remotely around, was interested in whether or not, or speculating whether or not it was the same character but had been brainwashed and put into this area with other brainwashed people who just refer to themselves as numbers and had various different weird adventures. But yeah, that's what this reminded me of. The rovers, those big bubble things, yeah. And that's what, if I'd have been walking down No, that would have been Tottenham Court Road early on Monday morning. Nah, it's too far to go for a walk. I would have that would have come into my head. Oh my God, the big rubber ball things off of The Prisoner are coming for me. They did do an American version of The Prisoner, but it was crap. I'll be honest with you. Kanye West. Kanye West paid settlement to a former employee who accused rapper of praising Hitler in meetings. Now, many levels of this is confusing. For a start, why would you praise Hitler? Secondly, why would you pay someone just for saying that you praised Hitler when the news comes out that you've paid someone to stop them telling the world that you praised Hitler? You might as well just let them praise Hitler and kept your money. More so as you're no longer a billionaire, you're only a multi-millionaire. But it's Kanye West, or Ye, whatever he's called nowadays. So it kind of makes sense. Because it doesn't make sense. Meanwhile, this is Elon Musk again. He's causing a right old stir on Twitter. See, I use Twitter for quite a lot of stuff. And I'm wondering now if I'm doing the right thing. I think, but I don't pay for it. So, yeah, I'm doing the right thing. He's not getting any money off me. And if he does, I'll just go back to something else. Elon Musk mocks AOC's take on Twitter subscription fee. Now pay $8. Elon Musk shot back at Republican Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez after she criticised his decision to charge verified Twittered users, telling her to pay up. Musk's comment directed at her was his latest response from a long list of complaints from verified users over Twitter's new policing. Yeah, it's a weird one, but he owns it now. He can do what he wants. Do you not see this coming? Asking for a friend. A 12-year-old girl, right? Let that just that little bit sink in. A 12-year-old girl and a teenage boy were both busted for allegedly having a loaded gun at a New York City elementary school. A 12-year-old girl was busted with a loaded gun in a book bag at a Queens elementary school after a 14-year-old boy gave it to her. The boy brought the .22 caliber automatic weapon to the school, handing it over to the girl who stashed it in a book bag. Yeah, why are kids able to get hold of guns so easily? Thankfully, they were caught before any damage was done, but they shouldn't have had them in the first place. I don't get it. Another thing I don't get is Candy Crush. I mean, for a start, I didn't get it when it came out. I don't even think it's a thing anymore. However, 500 drones will light up the New York skyline in a Candy Crush ad. A fleet of 500 drones will light up the Big Apple skyline on Thursday night in a massive ad for the mobile video game Candy Crush. But critics aren't sweet on what they consider airspace pollution. Well, I don't think it's airspace pollution necessarily, it's just a pointless exercise. The dazzling 10-minute display of light-equipped choreographed drones will turn the sky into the largest screen on the planet. It's to celebrate the game's 10th anniversary. When was the last time anyone you know played Candy Crush, discussed Candy Crush, even said the words Candy and Crush in the same sentence? Okay, it's 10 years old, but no one cares. It's 10 years old. It's gone. It was crap when it was here. Indiana teen arrested for allegedly shooting at a police chief's house. A 16-year-old male suspect earlier this week was arrested after allegedly firing shots into the residence of a police chief. Again, how has a 16-year-old been able to get hold of a gun? Yeah, it might be the parents' gun or whatever, but they should have them in a safe place, not where a hormonal 16-year-old can get hold of them and go around to anyone's house and start firing bullets through the window. Candy Crush is okay to play. To be fair, I've had quite a few mobile phones now, smartphones. I get like one every 2 years, and I've never ever played a game on them. Which, bearing in mind my industry, I own a game shop, currently relocating. And I'm called the Elder Gamer. I don't play on mobile phones. I think games on mobile phones, I've tried a couple and they are, no, not for me. Anyway, we digress. Will I digress? Virginia town schools under shelter in place order as armed and dangerous man on the loose. So this was a couple of days ago. I've not heard anything since, so I assume it might have been a false alarm, but either way, can you imagine the panic of the parents? Residents of Virginia town were ordered to shelter in place on Thursday as police searched for an armed and dangerous man who tried to run over 2 police officers with a stolen police car. Officers gathered at south side of Palousca to search for Jared Cabley Brown, who stole additional firearms for the police vehicle. Oh my God. Oh, there's me going on about how are people able to get hold of guns so easily. And if you steal a police car, you can instantly get access to the guns in the police car. Anyway, it didn't hit the news again as far as I'm aware, so hopefully no news is good news on that one. Trump says he's back. He will oh, that was more Prince Charles. Very probably run in 2024. Can I ask a question on guns without disturbing you doing the stream? Yes, of course you can ask me a question on guns without disturbing the stream. The whole point is we interact. We interact. He's dropping very big hints. Former President Donald Trump fired up a huge audience of supporters in Iowa late Thursday by coming the closest so far to confirming his plans to run again in 2024. And now, in order to make our country successful and safe and glorious, I will very probably do it again. Okay. Very probably, very probably, he repeated, pausing to listen to huge cheers and chants of Trump, Trump, Trump. No, they were singing Nellie the Elephant. Nellie the Elephant packed her trunk and said goodbye to the circus. Off she went with a trumpety trump, 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 da-dum. Yeah, Donald Trump could be on his way back. And can you imagine if Boris Johnson gets back as well? We'll be back where we were, like 3-4 years ago. Oh my God. If someone's parents lose their guns that are so old they lose their licence permanently, I don't think they do lose their licence. I don't think there's a way you could. I mean, I'm not really looked into it in America. Over here, it's very strict what you can do with guns and not do with guns. And if you get convicted of a crime that is violence related, whatever, you can have your gun licence taken off. If you get mental health issues, you can have your gun licence taken off. If you get physically ill, you can get your gun licence taken off. I don't think that happens in America, and I think that is half the problem. So I don't think that happens in America, but it does happen in other countries. So yes, probably, maybe happen or not. Maybe. Remember China? The Chinese rocket, it fell into the Pacific Ocean. An out-of-control piece of Chinese rocket booster crash-landed on the Pacific Ocean on Friday, scattering tons of metal across the water surface of the world watched nervously, according to space officials. I didn't watch it nervously. I knew it was happening, but I wasn't nervous about it, because what are the chances of something that size? Off to Bedfordshire. Do enjoy these new shows, so thank you. Night. To be fair, we're running very late because we started late. And thank you, Grid, for your interaction. You will get a shout out at the end, but I'll give you one now if you're going. So thank you, Grid Runner Shack. The 23-ton hunk of space junk re-entered the atmosphere in south central section of the ocean just after 6 AM. So thankfully, it landed harmlessly. And the Chinese will say, oh, we meant it to land there. No, they didn't. Something else making a re-entry is COVID. But this is a good story. A UK man is finally cured of COVID after 411 days. A British man has been finally cured of COVID after being infected a staggering 411 days, the longest recorded in a survivor. According to the doctors, the unidentified 59-year-old kidney transplant patient, well, that narrows it down a bit, doesn't it? He's male, he's 59, he's a kidney transplant patient. There'll only be a few thousand of them. was tested positive in December 2020, tested regularly until January this year, where he was negative, and now he's not had it since, so he is fully cured. This is in the UK. Yeah, this is in the UK. But again, not seen it anywhere else in American news. So that's why I look at American news, because I find stuff out that I don't know about. I don't find it anywhere else. I used to follow Australian news, but I'll be honest, they don't tweet as much nowadays, so I do as much. But I might find a way, and then we can do Meanwhile Down Under. We could do it. Actually, might do that as a tribute to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not even watching it. Tiger King. Way, maybe they should make him president. Joe Exotic calls Atlanta Federal Prison the bottom of hell. I mean, I think hell would have been enough. He says his living conditions are resembling Hades as he serves his sentence at a federal prison in Atlanta. Well, don't set people up to go around and murder people. If you don't go to prison, it's not a holiday camp, and what you did was very wrong, and you did it on TV. I mean, come on. A customer called 911 over a smoked barbecue plate she said was too pink. Nothing to do with the food. The barbecue was too pink. I mean, could you imagine? No, the barbecue was too pink. Sorry, just getting rid of that. The barbecue Korean has a major beef with a popular pork dish. One beloved North California barbecue spot became the centre of a controversy on Tuesday when a disgruntled customer called 911 to report her it was a food. Her slow smoked pork was too pink. A local report said it all started when a diner at Clyde Cooper's Barbecue in Raleigh Institute since 1938 approached the owner, Debbie Alt, saying her pork was too pink. I mean, pork is pink. If you overcook it, it goes brown. If you overcook it, it goes grey, and then it goes black. It's life. Now, these are my least favourite people at the moment on the planet. Bear in mind, Lewis Hamilton's still on the planet. Vladimir Putin's still on the planet. No, I'm putting the two together. Oh my God, no. That sounded awful. I just don't like Lewis Hamilton, but I think Vladimir Putin's evil. There. Different. Dislike, but for different reasons. But these stop oil or end oil or whatever it is, these people are off their rockers. I mean, they're basically poor little rich kids who've got nothing better to do than to go around causing havoc. And this time in Italy, Vincent van Gogh painting on display in Rome on Friday. They threw pea soup over it. I hope it was my recipe, because at least then I actually get, like a bit of money. I might get half a penny for that if they use my recipe, if they watch my video. If you want pea soup, just check the cooking videos. I don't see where they're coming from. Like I said last week, if you want to protest about something, protest. Get a placard, stand outside the Parliament House or your MP or equivalent's house or office or whatever, or outside a petrol station or something. Throw in pea soup or a custard pie or whatever onto an exhibition piece, in this case with millions and millions of pounds. I don't see the relevance. The artist has been dead for years. The painting will never ever end up in landfill, ever. So it's going to be kept there forever. I know it's oil painting. Maybe that's the link. I don't know. But the whole thing is pointless. I mean, look at them. They look stupid. Not only because they've glued their hands after throwing pea soup over something, but they are stupid people. They are, like I say, poor little rich kids who've got nothing better to do than to change the planet. And that's not going to help. If anything, I might just fill my car up and just drive up and down the M6 now until it runs out, and then fill it up again and do it again, just to pee them off. because we cannot at all stop using oil like that. Impossible. It cannot be done. So what they think they're achieving by these pathetic childish things, I don't know. All of them should be taken away in a bus or one of Elon Musk's rockets, sent to Mars, with stuff to live on. I'm not saying some, build a little place for them to live and everything, and they can not use oil to their heart's content. But for the time being, until we get sustainable replacements, we have to use oil. That is a fact of life. I mean, they would mourn if their their iPads and iPhones and earbuds and all that shit that they've got weren't able to charge up because the power's cut off, because the power station's run out of gas and oil, because we can't use it anymore because you threw soup over a painting, child. So yeah, and there are waste of food. Have you tasted my peanut soup? It's probably best throwing it. No. No, it's just pathetic in my opinion, and I don't understand how they think they are benefiting anyone at all, other than making themselves look incredibly stupid and naive. But the sad thing is, if these are poor little rich kids, they may get into politics, and when my grandkids are growing up, I'll be long gone by then, but when my grandkids are growing up, these kind of people could be in charge of the planet. I mean, we need to do something. So yeah, send them to Mars with a hub thing so they can live their life out on Mars, and not use oil. They can use solar power, and they can recycle their own water, because there's no water on Mars, or if there is water on Mars, it might be full of bacteria. So yeah, give them let them thaw out the Mars water. And there we go. Anyway, very, very late tonight, for banging reasons. Fireworks, get it? Banging reasons. So I will say thank you very much for watching. Oh, I need to put a picture up. What do I put up? Let's have a look. What should we put up? I know what we put up. We'll put up the monkey. Do food videos. I'll need to look at them. I've done loads of food videos, dear. There's playlists and everything. Cooking on a budget, cost of living crisis cooking, all that kind of thing. Where's there he is? There he is. Come on, little fella. Come on, little fella. Let's make you a big fella, shall we? There we go. There you go. So I will leave you with all the bad news in the world, and we got this cute little leaf monkey to say goodbye to. So a big shout out to Reese. They all said hey, and that were it. JT and Rachel, Faded, Angela O'Kane, Bill Shears for the really good jokes. To be fair, very amusing today, Bill. Gridrunner Shack, who's now gone, but I did say I'd mention him again before we went, and we're not going to thank that person. So there you go. I'll stroke it. I'm going to have to do that. Ah, he's cute. Tickle your ear. Oh, tickle your ear. Probably better doing it that hand, don't I? He's a cutie. Well, me or the monkey. Me or the monkey. Yeah, obviously the monkey. Anyway, thank you for watching. If indeed you still are. Again, apologies for it being late, but that's how it was. I am not as many viewers as previously, but that's just one of them things, unfortunately. You wouldn't have heard me otherwise. So yeah, we'll leave it there, and I will see you all again next week to find out what week that was. Until then, thank you, and goodbye.